This conference will
among
now be
this,
recorded.
SAP is ranked as a number one product. Why it is ranked as number one product? What is the main advantage of SAP? So can you tell me what is the main advantage of SAP? Why it is ranked as number one product? Am I audible to you, Venkatesh?
Yeah, your
Yes.
voice is okay. Because of it's very uh, you call very transparent. First of all,
Okay, okay. So why it is
yeah,
ranked as number one product? What is the main advantage of SAP? In Oracle, we can do only one or two business works. In Microsoft also one or two work. In PeopleSoft, we can do only the work of HR. When you hear about Tally, we can do only the work of accounts. But whereas in SAP, it involves all the work in it. It might be the work of HR team. It might be the work of SD team. It might be the work of finance team. It might be the work of HR team. So all the work is done using one ERP product, that is SAP, so that there is a smooth flow in the organization. So among this, SAP is ranked as number one product, and it is also very expensive product. So this is the main advantage of SAP. And that is why many companies are trying to switch to SAP. And not every organization will have SAP. Only the MNCs are afford to buy it. Okay. So this is the main advantage of SAP. So in SAP application, you will be knowing there is two module. That is functional module, and other one is technical module. What comes under functional module? Under functional modules, we have like financial accounting and controlling. We also have SAP SD, that is sales and distribution. We also have SAP MM, which is we are going to learn. And we also have SAP PP, that is production planning. We also have SAP HR, that is human resource management. We also have SAP SCM, that is supply chain management. So this comes under functional modules. Under technical modules, we also have basis, ABAP, and S4 HANA. Basis is nothing but it is the work of admin people. Basically, whatever server is installed, everything is done by basis people. ABAP, you'll be knowing ABAP is a programming language that is used in SAP. Whatever we create, whatever T code we use, how many characters we use for there will be many characters which we will be using. 4 characters, 3 characters, 2 characters. So those length is developed by one programming language, that is ABAP. And S4 HANA is an ongoing version of SAP. So we had many versions. Right now, ongoing version is S4 HANA. What is SAP MM? Now we got idea what is SAP. Let's understand what is SAP MM. So according to you, can you tell me what is material management?
and procure the material from vendor and supply the production.
Exactly, exactly. That process is done by MM department, that is done by
Mm.
material management. It's nothing but it is a very simple meaning where we purchase the material from the vendor till it is delivered to customers. That process, whatever is involved, everything is done by material management department. Basically, it is nothing but from the transportation of material till the delivery of the goods, whatever activities is taken care, everything is taken care by MM department. So that is called as material management. It is involved in logistics. Okay. And it is done usually, the main work of material management department is nothing but they are going to purchase the material from the supplier. Accordingly, we will see which material is required in the organization, and then we decide to purchase from the vendor. And everything is done by material management, like what material is required in the organization and which vendor you want, from which vendor you're purchasing, everything is done by department. The main focus and the main aim of the material management department is to provide an unbroken chain of components. Is nothing but there should be continuous flow of materials. If whenever the customer is coming and asking the material, that material should be readily available in the organization, because we don't want to lose our customer, right? So that is main objective of material management department. In material management, you're going to learn everything at consultant level. Everything which is involved, like organization structure, you're going to learn many procedure which is involved in MM at consultant level. It might be pipeline process, it might be any kind of material, it might be any kind of material, pipeline material, it might be consignment process, it might be batch management. So are you aware of batch management?
Yeah, little bit of knowledge on that actually, but
Yes, can you tell me what is batch management?
we can identification of the materials. I think
No, no.
I
Okay, so
I
batch
didn't work
management
with
is
the
nothing but
yeah.
okay, okay. Batch management is nothing but very simple meaning. Like if you're purchasing any material, in that material you will have various characteristics. Let's take an example of let's take shoe itself. Okay, in shoe also we have different kinds of shoes. It might be casual shoe. It might be like formal shoe. It might be jogging shoe. So different characteristics. You're dividing it. The features is divided, but the material is same. Okay, and the vendor is also same. So what you want from the vendor? We want in batches. We want in different batches, different boxes, if we call it as. That is called as batch management. Very simple. So everything you're going to learn in this, like not only one procedure, you're going to learn how to do batch management. You're going to learn how to do pipeline process, consignment process, and we also have stock transfer order. If you're aware of stock transfer order, STO process, third party sales process, you're going to learn integration between SD and MM. You're going to learn integration between FI and MM. Everything at consultant level you're going to learn. Okay. Right now, let's have a small introduction. So in SAP MM, you're also going to learn inventory management. You're also going to learn physical inventory process. If you are aware of physical inventory process, I'll tell you the meaning. Physical inventory process is nothing but you're physically checking the material, okay, and accordingly you're updating in the system. So if one material is purchased from the vendor, obviously the material is added in the storage location, and that you're going to update in the system. That is called as physical inventory process. It is added or it is delivered to the customer. If it is added, then it will be plus. If it is delivered to the customer, it is minus. So everything you're going to learn in physical inventory process, that is also called as inventory management, where you're going to manage the inventory. The decision is done by MM department, where you decide there should not be any excess of material. If there is excess and if there is shortage, it is the loss for the organization. Accordingly, you have to decide what material is needed in the organization, and then you have to make an order from your supplier. So inventory management also you're going to learn. You're also going to learn master data. Master data is nothing but storing the information related to one particular topic. It might be vendor master data. If you're learning vendor master data, it's nothing but you're storing all the information related to vendor. In sense, you're deciding who is your vendor, okay, and what type of vendor it is, whether it is domestic vendor, whether it is foreign vendor, that you're deciding in vendor master data. You're also going to learn material master data, which is very important from the perspective of MM department. Material master data is nothing but in that you decide what material it is required in the organization, what material you need in the organization. So that you're going to learn in material master data. You're also going to learn customer master data. Customer master data is the integration between MM and SD, where you're going to learn which is the customer, okay, and how to create a customer. Everything you're going to learn in customer master data. You're also going to learn purchasing. You're going to learn purchasing requisition and purchasing order. Do you know the difference between purchase requisition and purchase order?
Yeah, I know. But
Yes, can you please
purchase
tell?
uh, purchase requisition is internal document, and purchase order is
Exactly,
final
exactly.
record sent
Yes.
to vendor. Sent to
Yes,
vendor.
yes, yes, exactly. So purchase requisition is an internal document and purchase order is an external document. Purchase requisition is done only within the organization. It is just after approval, it is converted into PO. So that after conversion into PO, the PO is placed to the purchase order. Sorry, it is placed to the vendor. So that is called as external document. So you're also going to learn purchase requisition, how to release the purchase requisition. You're also going to learn purchase order, how to release purchase order, release procedure on purchase requisition, and release purchase procedure on purchase order also. You're also going to learn pricing procedure. So you would have come across pricing procedure, like we have standard pricing procedure in SAP, like PB00, PB XX. These are the standard pricing procedure which is already there in SAP. We are also going to learn in pricing procedure how to build your own pricing procedure. Whenever the client is coming and asking their own pricing procedure, that time we learn how to create your own pricing procedure. Okay, so everything you're going to learn in SAP MM at consultant level. Now, let's understand how it works in the organization. In the organization, what happens first is we plan for the material requirement planning. So, material requirement planning is done by MM department, and purchase requisition is also done by MM department. Purchase requisition is nothing but requesting your vendor to provide the material. That is called as purchase requisitions. So, this two activities is involved in MM department. After it is purchased, it is obvious that you don't get finished product. You get raw material. So that raw material has to be converted into finished product. So that is done by SAP PP department. Once the conversion is done, it's not that you're storing it. You're going to sell that good to the customer. So customer sales and goods issue is done by SAP SD department. Once it is sold, it's obvious that it is not you're freely selling it. You're going to get the money also. So billing is where the finance department works, where you are going to receive the money from this customer, and even when you're purchasing from the vendor, you're going to make the payment to the vendor. So the payment document and receiving the payment is done by FI department. So this is how it works in the organization, and everything integration part you're going to learn. Okay, 1 minute. You're going to learn integration part. So integration between MM and SD, and also integration between FI and MM. How it is integrated. Let's understand how it's integrated. So in organization, what happens is, if the finance department, if I'm working for finance department, if I want to make the payment to the vendor, okay, if I want to make the payment to the vendor, I want to know who is my vendor and what material is purchased in the organization and from which vendor it is purchased. So that information I get from MM department. It is obvious because MM department decides which is the material which is required in the organization, who is the vendor selection, the material selection, what price it is purchased, everything it is decided by MM department. So if I'm working for finance department, I need few data from MM department. I need who is my vendor and what is the material that is purchased. So that is done by MM department. So this is how the data is integrated, where the MM department need few data from finance department also. If you want to create a vendor, okay, if I'm working, if I want to create a vendor, I want to know what is my reconciliation account. Reconciliation account is the general ledger account which is created by FI department. I don't know how to create general ledger account. If I'm working for MM department, I don't know how to create GL account. So that GL accounts, everything is created by FI department. GL accounts are those which is displayed in the balance sheet. At the end, balance sheet is only shown, right? The profit and loss of the company, it is shown through the balance sheet itself. So that balance sheet is created only by FI department. I don't know how to create all those. So that is done by FI department. So this is how the data is integrated, and that you're going to learn. Few concepts which is integrated you're going to learn, and you're also going to learn integration between SD and MM, where if let's say if I'm working for MM department, okay, if I'm working for MM department, if the customer is coming and asking the material, it is obvious that I'll get that information from my SD department itself. Directly, the customer will not come and ask us. It is obvious that from SD department only we'll get the data. So what material they want in the organization, what material is more purchased from the customer. So that data is integrated between MM and SD. So that also you're going to learn in SAP MM. So as I told you, we have few departments: sales and distribution department, production department, procurement department. In procurement department, it's nothing but it is the work of MM department where they purchase the material from the suppliers. Once it is purchased, it is obvious that you get a raw materials, and that raw materials has to be converted into finished product, and that is done by PP department. Once it is converted, the finished product is ready and the finished product is sold to the customers. That is done by sales and distribution department. So whatever activities is taken care in all these departments will be directly taken into finance department. As I told you, when you purchase, you have to make the payment. That payment is done by finance department, and when you sell the goods, you receive the payment, and that is also done by finance department. So this is how it is involved. You're also going to learn procurement cycle. In procurement cycle, what happens basically? Determination of requirements. Determination of requirements is nothing but what is your requirement in the organization, what material you want in the organization. That is decided by MM department. Once it is decided, you also decide about source, from where, how you're going to get that material, what is your transport method to get that material. That is source determination. Once you have decided the transport, then you are going to decide who is the vendor, which vendor is quoting you at less price. That vendor you're going to select for your company. So that vendor selection is done by MM department. Once the vendor is selected, you're going to process your purchase order. PO processor, then it is done after you have decided that this material is required in the organization and the PO processing is in process. After that, once the PO is placed, after that, you're going to monitor it. The head of the department checks which whether everything is correct or whether this material you want. This release procedure also you're going to learn in MM. Once it is monitored by the head of the department, once it is placed to the vendor, whenever the delivery due date is coming, the vendor is going to send the goods to us. Okay, so once we have received the goods, we are going to post that goods receipt document. That is also done by MM department. So once the goods receipt is posted, after that invoice verification is done using the reference of PO number. Once the invoice verification is done, then the payment processing is done at last, and that payment processing is done by FI department. So this is how you're going to learn all this procedure. So this was a small intro about SAP and SAP MM. Do you have any questions?
No payment to which department? Finance department will pay the vendor final after receive the goods and hello
Yes, Venkatesh, can you please be
after
loud?
receive,
Yeah.
after receiving the goods, next will go to payment as per invoice.
Invoice
So
verification. After that, invoice
invoice verification.
verification and then payment.
Invoice
Hmm.
verification payment will
Hmm.
done by finance department.
Yes,
FIPP.
yes. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, yeah,
That is done by FI department. Till invoice
okay,
verification, it is done by SAP MM.
yeah, okay, okay.
Okay. Any other queries,
No,
Venkatesh?
no, no, my side is
Okay, Venkatesh. Thank you.
thank